So hello friends, let's talk about some technical stuff. Some of the things you should know in the world of distributed consensus. So if you have some knowledge of distributed systems and how to build one of them, you'll discover that there've been some technical breakthroughs. One of them has to do with the invention of the Nakamoto consensus. It's not actually an invention, it's actually a platform that improved on the backs of which we'll talk about some of the histories as we go on in this video. Now let's talk about the first breakthrough that came out. We'll talk about the likes of Laporte, Leslie Laporte, bringing out classical consensus. So we have systems that you have to build a classical distributed system, but in such a way that the members in the network have to be known. And not only that, it can't actually scale when it comes to the speed to which data in that network can actually be processed. So we have the constraints that has to do with speed, and we have the constraint that has to do with permissionless. The person who join the networking be able to validate transactions or data, or depending on what kind of data the platform is actually doing. So we have the 2008 problem, financial crisis, and somebody came up and said, I'm bringing up Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is going to work with blockchain, and I'm bringing a whole new family of consensus protocols. And it's not going to be like the Pasos, the practical administrative fault tolerance system. It's not going to be like the hot suit. I'm bringing a whole new problem. Now you have to understand that one of the problems that has to do with classical consensus is the issue of incentive. People want to pay, or people are naturally selfish, right? So people are asking the question like, what is in it for me if I get into validating transactions on a network? There is the incentive model was not clearly defined in the Laporte, in the Pasos, in the practical administrative tolerance system, and all that. So people felt like, I'm not going to join, right? So Nakamoto coming in and bringing something that is unique, where you could actually control to the network security and the validation of transactions to the network, and you could earn a reward. It changed everything. Now he didn't do anything different, right? We have the likes of Adam Back, who brought Hashcash, and if you do a little bit of Google search on Hashcash, it's an invention that was actually brought in the era where people tend to spam the email of people. So people literally send as many messages as possible to anybody. So because email was at no cost, to avoid that, he brought the system where if you are sending an email, you have to have a hash. So you have your computer has to do some computation to generate a hash. Then you attach the hash to the header of the email, and the person receiving knows that okay, this email has done some work, and therefore it's not actually spam. Let's take for example that if you want to create a Facebook account, there's nothing that constrains you from creating fake accounts or Twitter account. There's nothing that constrains. Why? Because account creation is free, so you could create multiple accounts. But if we say like Facebook account is like a subscription service where you have to pay to sign up for an account, you have to pay maybe $5. The margin to which people will do a lot of wrong things will be really, really slow. Now, in case you're wondering what is a hash is very simple. A hash is a kind of cryptographic function that you pass in an input and it brings out an output. So there is the input could be an arbitrary length, it could be anything, and it's going to bring out a fixed output. So let's move on to what we're actually discussing. So Nakamoto took this Avalanche hash system, which is called the proof of work, and said, okay, why don't we bring a kind of consensus system where we take transactions and we put something called a mystery. You can call it a mystery or a kind of computation that the value is unknown. in which say people have to do computation in the laptops or their application-specific integrated circuit systems or FPGA, whatever system you're using, specialized hardware. We provide this computation, and a person that could find the answer to this computation, which is called the nonce. Let's do a Google search. The nonce of the transaction, or some people call it nonsense, or it depends on what you want to call it, nonce or nonce, something like that. So the person that could find this nonce, say a nonce is an arbitrary number that can be used just once in a cryptographic communication. So the person that could find this nonce gets to get the block reward. Now, a person finds the nonce and makes a broadcasting message to the network like, hey guys, we all are trying to solve this problem and get an nonce. I have discovered a nonce and here is my answer. So it's not enough that the person found the nonce, that he has to broadcast to the system. So everybody in the network has to validate and say, wow, okay, true. What you propose to the system that you found, your answer is actually correct. So once people can actually validate and say, okay, the answer is correct, and we validated it, we cannot add it to the existing blocks of transactions. So hence the word blockchain. So you have transactions that are put in a block. A block is very simple. A block is just like a unit. You put transactions inside, then there is a finding of the nonce, and once the nonce is okay, you add it to the existing blocks. So this chain, using the consensus mechanisms, proof of work, it means you can't break the chain, because you are taking a chain and you are adding it. It's like a chain. So a chain is as strong as the weakest link, right? But it's not really effective. So some of the problems we actually talk. So I actually wrote an article, I think 2 months ago, about the problem. I talk about the issue of carbon footprint. It's polluting the system, right? Polluting the atmosphere. Talk about the issue of electrical energy being used. We're talking about whole household energy being used for more computation, which is really not good. Talk about the electrical waste that comes with it. The hardware that have to be disposed. There are a lot of things, cables and blah blah blah, and all that. Talk about carbon and a lot of other things, right? It's not really sustainable. The other thing again has to do with the issue of the growing network size. So in this chart, in the article I actually wrote 2 months ago, you can see the chart from 2008. You can see the chart. It's increasing on a daily basis. And not only is it increasing, there's a problem that this Bitcoin network cannot do more than 10 transactions per second. And actually included a tweet there where somebody said that if Trump tried to pay everyone in America $1,000 using Bitcoin, it would take 30 years to send out the payment. Who does that? Right? So it's not really sustainable. Now, I talked about the post-Bitcoin era. So the post-Bitcoin era is where you can, let's go to CoinMarketCap. Is where you go to CoinMarketCap, and then you talk about the battle over the next blockchain. Ethereum is doing something good. Ripple, Cardano, all of them, they want to create their own blockchains, and many of them are doing what is good. Many of them are doing, few of them are doing what is good, and all that. And that led us to what we are talking about, which is which is our center topic today. It's called the Avalanche protocol. So that's why I talk about the family of consensus systems. If you look at most of these projects, building blockchains and all that, they are just they are not unique when it comes to Bitcoin. Okay, you talk about the platform like there's a Litecoin, the 7th biggest currency. What was the main difference between Litecoin and Bitcoin? No difference. You can say Bitcoin is gold and Litecoin is silver, right? Litecoin has 21 billion in total supply. Bitcoin has 21 million. That is the only thing, right? Everything that Bitcoin is about, it's about Lightning Network, it's about anything Bitcoin is doing, it's doing. Like, what about something like Dogecoin? Like, it's something that is not really being sustainable, right? And talk about Ethereum is the only project I see that is doing something sustainable. The rest are just like copy and paste. So there has to be a going back to the old systems and asking questions like, what is where are we feeling? Like, what is the major problem? Where are we feeling? How can we actually solve this for them? Now, somebody actually said something that if you, this is the truth, for example, right? Some of the times, we get bored with, your problem should not be cutting the branches. Your problem should not be cutting the leaves off. That should not be a concern. The concern, if you want to take this tree, this tree is a nuisance to you. It should be to root the tree out. Root it out. There are possible chemicals you could even use after rooting it out to make sure it dies down to the root. Then it does not come back again. Maybe there's something like that. And then you cannot stop it. But when you are cutting the branches, you are cutting the leaves, you're not doing anything. So we can liken a lot of projects to cutting the branches, painting it. It does not really solve it. It does not really solve it. You have to do something that is unique, you build it from the ground. And that is where Avalanche protocol comes in. So you might be asking, what is this Avalanche protocol? But then you've been talking about another. I wrote an article, I said 2 months ago. Now, what is this Avalanche stuff? So you can liken the Avalanche to something called Legos. So I think everybody knows Legos. It can be like the building blocks of something. Our kids play with Legos and they build a lot of things with them. So as against other toys that our kids have, right? If you buy a toy for a kid, the kid is constrained to use the toy, right? The kid is constrained to use the toy you bought for him. Most of the times, if he tries, kids are very creative. If he tries to decouple the toy, he discovers that, oh my goodness, this toy is bad, has gone bad. But when you talk about Legos, something like that, they are building blocks. The kid can do anything with it, right? And dismantle it, can put it together. Wow, I like this design. Oh, I don't like it. I want to build something. That is what Avalanche is. Avalanche system. It's a pen platform, just like the internet, right? There are different kind of protocols that govern the internet. The internet is not just constrained and say, well, we're going to put TCP/IP, we're going to put HTTP, we're going to put TLS, we're going to put all these protocols. We're going to put them in a way that you are constrained to use. No, sir. No. The internet has different layers. There are 7 layers in the internet. There are what? There are 7 layers in the internet. So Avalanche is like that. Look at what I wrote and I quote. One of the things about Avalanche is that it resembles the internet. If you look at the internet, there's a network of protocols that sit at the middle. There are a couple of protocols like the HTTP, TLS, IP, TCP/IP, and a host of other protocols. But when you look at blockchain systems like Bitcoin, initially the system was created to be used for payment, but there is an evolution of the matter. You can do this and that. So the Avalanche protocol was built from the ground up to do what? Customizable, modular, and extensible. Now, let me explain all this. Customizable is what I talk about. The issue of Legos. So let's say customizable is the Legos. Modules are, how would I put modules? It's something like if you've done programming before, you understand the issue what kind of modules. Let's take for example Python, for example. Python is something that you can actually come. So like I said before, if you've done programming before, let's say there's a program called Python, you work with the Python programming language, there's only little you could do, right? Which modules, you can say modules, you can say modules are like Python packages, right? You could do a lot of things with them, and there are, like, if you go to the pip org, you can see a lot of projects that you can do anything you want. If you're doing web design, if you're doing data science, if you're doing security, if you're building games, anything, you can call them modules. Now, when we talk about things like where is this? We talk about extensible. Extensible has to do with you are not constrained, right? You can say, well, this thing on the Avalanche protocol, this particular module, it's not something that I can actually, that fits my need, right? I want to customize it. I want to write my own, or write my own extension. That is what this platform is all about. So we'll talk about how it is. Then another thing again that sets this platform apart, it's the issue of subnets. So subnets are actually, you can say subnets are actually a network. So we will talk about the Avalanche system, for example. You can build your own kind of network inside the network. So when you are building your own blockchain, you can decide to say, well, my blockchain I'm building, or my project I'm building, I want to use a particular consensus algorithm. This is the number of coins I'm going to use, and this is what I can, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. This is the virtual machine I want to support. I want to do this and that. So you're not constrained to anything, because let's take for example, if you're building a game app, you envisage many users, right? And when you envisage many users, for example, it means that your game app, there will be plenty of people that will be playing the game, and they'll be doing plenty of things simultaneously. It's unlike somebody who is in the real estate domain, where the number of interactions might be very low compared to the game. So you are not constrained with Avalanche. If you want to do payments, you tweak the system to support your payments. And another thing again about this platform is that these subnets are interpretable with what other subnets. So they are not existing in closed silos like as with blockchain system. No, they are working with other platforms. The other thing I talk about is the issue of virtual machines. They define how the blockchain runs and all that. And then it's going to support a rich marketplace for virtual machines and the development and the sale and all that. Now, how do you bootstrap the network? I actually explain how you bootstrap the network, how the DOS is actually prevented on simple resistance, how it's all done. You can bring a paper. How staking is done, the minimum, and all those details will be released, and the kind of smart contract that can be supported on this platform in the future is going to support Solidity++, and also support environments like the digital assets, machine language, web assembly, and all that. And the token system is going to create 720 tokens, and the things you could do with it, and all these explain they use, the kind of client types, and all. And let's talk about something else. You can actually read the article. There are things I didn't cover in the article. Now, for your information, I'll turn this video to an article also. So I will transcribe it word for word so that you can actually depending on this. Now, let's talk about app first. No. Now, you build a system. Who's going to use the system? It's something that you actually need to talk about. So the people that are going to use the system, they need some form of bootstrapping. You know, one of the problems with blockchains is not just you could create the best blockchain, for example, but the question is who is going to use the system. So the reason why people will still be using it, despite the lags and the drawbacks, Ethereum is slow, blah blah blah. Do you know the reason people still use Ethereum? It's simple. Ethereum has the numbers. You could easily get funding for Ethereum projects. You could easily get help when it comes to if you're a developer and the community is large, so they have the leverage. And the Avalanche is an initiative or something like that. So, if you have an idea, simple, submit a proposal, and your idea will be vetted. If you see that this idea is good, great, give you funding. And if you know about securities and you find bugs in the system, there is $50,000 for. You can end up with $50,000 for any bug. And even I was listening to Professor Emin. He said that they purposefully put like 4 bugs inside the system. It was purposefully put inside the system. So you could find that and you could do that. And if you put a ledger support, you can end up to $50,000. There are other hackathons and there are other things actually going on. You could submit a proposal, submit a general proposal. What is your name, team background, project name, blah blah blah. Submitted it, right? And this is some of the reasons. Okay, why do we need Ava? You can compare it Ava, attendant needs, maybe plenty of things. And what are some of the advantages of Ava to other blockchains? And some of the stuff about consensus algorithm, the chains that talk about the subnet, the virtual machines. This is Ava on a more technical stuff. We will talk about this in a much later video, because I'll be creating a series of videos for Ava. And then there is the documentation. If you want to start building right now, there is the documentation for that. And there are solutions. You can build your own blockchain. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Ava, Ethereum, Ava called Ethereum. So Ethereum has scaling issues right now. So to prove that Ava is working, the network actually, the platform actually forked the Ethereum platform to create a kind of Ava on Ethereum. So let's say Ava on Ethereum. Then you have scalability that is at levels that are beyond comprehension, and not only that, it's 100% Ethereum. The tools you're already using, that you already use to MetaMask and all that, you can use it on this platform. So it's very simple. Build your project with Ethereum, come up with it on Ava. So we said a lot of things, and let's talk about the people who are building the systems and all that, and what they're doing. So one of the likes of Professor Emin, you might be asking, who is Professor Emin? Professor Emin is someone that following the crypto space. He's someone that has done a lot of things in the space. And, he's a professor at Cornell University. He's the co-director of the initiative for cryptocurrencies and blockchains. And then he's one of the persons that actually called an error out when Ethereum was about to launch. Ethereum hack. So when we were building the decentralized autonomous organization, he actually came out and said, listen, there are bugs in this thing. Right? There are bugs in this thing. But some of the person said, no, there are no bugs. He called it out. So he's somebody you should actually be looking at. So when he is building something, it's time to pay attention to it. Now, another thing about Professor Emin is that Professor Emin is somebody that created one of the first cryptocurrencies. It's called Kava. So we'll do a bit of search right now, so we might know who is Professor Emin. So let's say Emin Siri Kava. So you can find a link to it. So this is Kava. a virtual currency for peer-to-peer systems. Karma is a virtual currency for peer-to-peer system. Its main advantage is that it's not controlled by any single entity. Its implementation, along with the means for the control of the supply and value, are entirely decentralized. Karma is defined to thwart the free riding problem occurring in many peer-to-peer systems. Malicious partners peer-to-peer system often consume resources without contributing their fair share or otherwise force other networks into subsidizing them. A secure exchange mechanism ensures that nodes cannot counterfeit karma, and anti-inflation deflation mechanism regulates the karma supply to ensure that prices do not over or underflow. A world mechanism that makes the system incentive compatible for participants, and a completely free peer-to-peer scheme for tracking karma and all that. So these are the papers, and these are some papers that actually involved with it. Let's see this paper. Karma, the 6-page document. So this is karma. It was written in 2003. Here's how it works. You could dive deep in it, and in one of the videos he actually made, Emin made, I think he made a video with who is this guy? Bob Crypto. Let's see if I could actually pull it out. Let's see. Presentation on it. Yeah, this is the video. I think you should watch the video. This is the video. He actually said something that he said that one of the reasons why he didn't get funding was, I think that is something that actually happened after 911, and a lot of people were not really interested in the project. Even some of the professors told him that you're not going to get funding for this is not good for your career and all that. So the thing didn't really launch. So when people are speaking on about building systems, it's something you should be really looking at. Then another person on the team, I can't really pinpoint who the guy is. I don't know. I think it should be either Kevin or Mufan Teddy. And he created a consensus system that's one of the projects he's using. I'll bring up the project right now. Libra. So a lot of you have heard about the Libra blockchain. It's planned to actually create a kind of cryptocurrencies that can be a kind of currency that can be used everywhere around the world. Now, let me show you something. If we go to the white paper, the Libra white paper, I want to search for hot. If I can't find it, I can't find it now. Listen, I want to search for it. Libra blockchain hot suit. I can't really find it, but the current consensus that the Libra system is using was designed by one of the members on the network. The hot stuff blockchain consensus mechanism. Hot stuff. So you can see. I think there's plenty of information right now. So it uses the hot stuff protocol. So who created it? Somebody in the Libra team. So when we speak, we're talking about people who have done stuff. Anyone here to show you the book. So guys, I think I've said enough about in this video. I hope to see you in another series of videos. Thank you very much.